Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to our first summer 2021 update. So wow, here we are. It's early February and we're already starting to think a little bit about the summer. Every year we like to do in the winter a little update for the summer, just get everybody ready for the fact that summer updates are on the way. We will actually begin summer updates properly in early March once we've got the spring forecast out of the way. But it's only like a few weeks away now, so we always like to do a little update for the summer. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do right now. Every year we vary this, you know, the thing that we look at in the winter. This year we're going to look at summers following teaser winters, and it's going to be a very interesting watch, I think. So if you enjoy the video, please give it a like and let us know in the comments what you think. Thank you so much, everybody. But doing that, just say that this video will be placed on the summer updates page eventually at GavsWeatherVids.com, and there'll be a written summary that goes through it as well. We have not created the summer updates page yet, but we will get it created for you. You'll be able to have a read of that and also watch the video on demand at website and also on YouTube, of course, whenever you would like to do that. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, so just to say that the reason we're looking at summers following, so I better explain this, haven't I? The reason we're looking at summers following teaser winters is that for the GavsWeatherVids.com 2021 forecast, winter 2021 forecast, we predicted a teaser winter. We said it would be a winter that would be colder than the winters we've had for some time, and we will see cold weather coming and going, threatening, teasing, but probably never truly locking in and giving us like a severely cold winter. It wouldn't be that kind of winter. It would be locked in, severe cold. But it would, you know, be a winter that teases and would be colder and snowier than we've had for quite some time, and will probably be setting up an even colder winter for the next winter, for 2022. We predicted that would be like a colder winter compared to 2021. So what you have to think with these summers is that they are summers that follow teaser winter but precede even colder winters. Now, there is no defined criteria of a teaser winter, so I've just done my best to pick out the years that I think stack up as teaser winters, but probably not everybody will agree with the years that I have chosen, and that's absolutely fine. And, you know, let me know in the comments which years you agree with in terms of being teaser winters, which years you disagree with, and which years you would like to have seen included as teaser winters. And it's been an interesting, sort of discussion, I would have thought. Right, so let's just go over the winter first of all so far. So as I'm recording this on the 2nd of February, this is how the reanalysis is looking for the winter of 2020-2021. This is December's 500 millibar height anomaly, with above average heights in the Atlantic going up towards Greenland and also over towards Scandinavia and northwest Russia as well. Trough of low pressure is over the UK and Western Europe. So it does suggest like there's blocking around in December, not particularly conducive to pulling very cold air from the north or from the east into the UK. Although it does start getting a little bit colder around the Christmas period. But there's enough non-blocking there to suggest that it's teasing, isn't there? But like the blocking is definitely teasing us. January's 500 millibar height looks like that. The blocking centres around Greenland in January. So you can see that the high pressure is centred through Greenland, but it does also extend back into the Arctic as well to some degree. The trough of low pressure below average heights are more to our south and east. This is almost a very, very cold January, actually. Just not quite lining up absolutely perfectly to be a very cold month. For that, you will want to send up a high pressure more around here and have this trough of low pressure elongating through here, really, which will pull in the wind properly from like a northeasterly direction. So it's almost there as like a very cold or even a severely cold January, but just not quite perfect. And of course, you get a very cold or severely cold month in the UK and winter. You do have to have it absolutely perfect, such as we had in December 2010. for example. So it's a cold January, but not severely cold. It's very much indicative of a teaser winter. This anomaly, this pattern, very much indicative of what you would get in a teaser winter. Almost a very cold month, teasing us, but not quite pulling it off. This is how the overall 500 millibar high tsunami looks for winter 2020-21 as of January and December, or December and January, with, again, low pressure through the west of Europe, a lot of northern blocking, again, let's change the colour, a lot of high pressure around Greenland, and also over towards Svalbard, but again, just not quite perfect to be very cold, to be very snowy, to be severely cold, just not quite right. This trough low pressure needs to be further south and east. The blocking really needs to be through here more, and really pull down those winds from Arctic or Siberian regions. It's close to being a very cold winter pattern, but just isn't quite right, just not quite pulling it off, and that's exactly what you expect in a teaser winter. So I think from like a weather perspective, but also from like a 500 millibar high tonic pattern perspective, we can say that this has been very, very indicative of a teaser winter so far. And so that prediction that we made at the outset for the winter of 2020-21 of a teaser winter, I think has come pretty good. I think that's been a pretty good prediction. And so now we'll look at the summers that follow those teaser winters. Now, the first summer I picked out is 1908, following the winter of 1907-1908. So this summer tends to have higher pressure out to our west. Lower pressure is more to our south and east, and we're probably bringing the wind kind of like from a northerly, northwesterly direction. I think that's a relatively cool and dry summer in 1908. It's not overly wet, that's the first thing to say about it. It's not like a washout summer, but I think it is a pretty cool summer with a high pressure centred out to our west, and just quite mixed and quite cool. But often I would have thought with high pressure to our west, relatively dry. The idea of 1907-1908 being a teaser winter probably is a little bit controversial. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. I think there's enough cold weather in that winter of 07-08 to suggest that it's a teaser, particularly as the next winter, 08-09, is one of the colder winters of the early 20th century. There aren't that many cold winters in the early 20th century, but 08-09 is one of them. And as I say, I think there's enough for the winter of 07-08 to suggest that it is a teaser winter. Now, the next teaser winter that I picked out is going to be controversial. So the summer is 1916, but the teaser winter that I picked out is 1915-1916. Now, the reason it's controversial is that this winter of 1915-1916 does actually contain the mildest January on record. January 1916 is the mildest on record. Overall, it's quite a mild winter, really, but it does have, like, the coldest November on record. I think November 1915 is the coldest on record, and or certainly one of them. And it has a very cold end to February and into March period that is very cold and wintry as well. And a lot of these teaser winters will have very cold weather late on at the end of February and into March. Not all of them will do that, but a lot of them do. That's one of the things that they do tend to have in common a little bit, but late February into March will be very cold. And so despite the mildest January on record in 1916, I think there is enough there still to suggest that the winter of 1915-1916 is probably a teaser winter, setting up the severely cold winter of 1916-1917. Now, the summer of 1916 is very unsettled. With low pressure over and to the east of the country. It does have northern blocking as well within the Arctic. Jet streams push southwards. It's a cool and wet summer in 1916. Winds regularly coming in from a northerly direction. So just quite a miserable summer, quite a cool summer, and also quite an unsettled summer as well, with northern blocking in evidence. Our next summer is 1928, following the teaser winter of 1927, 1928. There's nothing controversial about that one. That's clear-cut teaser winter. It has a very cold and snowy spell around Christmas of 1927. It has an easterly December, actually, 1927. A lot of easterly winds with Scandinavian highs. But then the rest of the winter, after it all falls away, after all the snow and ice falls away after Christmas blizzard, the rest of that winter is generally quite mild. But there's enough there to say that is a tease winter. It's teasing the very cold winter that occurs for 1928, 1929. Now, the summer of 1928, after that teaser winter, and before that very cold winter, is unsettled and cool, with low pressure dominating across north and west Europe and winds in from the west. A cool, wet summer for 1928. And notice again, it does have something of a northern blocking signal around Greenland and back into the Arctic once more. That's a cool and a wet summer. The next summer I picked out, following a teaser winter of 1939, the summer of 1939, after winter of 1938, 1939. Again, that's a classic teaser winter, has a white Christmas, classic white Christmas. 1938 has regular bouts of snow, but also a lot of moderation in January of 1939, and it has a very mild February. So, as I say, not all of these teaser winters have cold weather in February. 1939 is one of the examples of a February that's actually quite mild. The summer of, and of course, we have the severely cold winter of 39-40 after that teaser winter. In between, the summer of 1939 demonstrates a lot of northern blocking again, plenty of high pressure within the northern latitudes, has low pressure across the UK and Western Europe. Just again, quite a cool, unsettled sort of summer. Definite suggestions of northern blocking in the high latitudes left over from a teaser winter, and will get even more pronounced, even more intense in the coming winter of 1939, 1940. But that summer is just quite cool and quite unsettled, really, in the summer of 1939. Then we've got the summer of 1946. Now, again, the suggestion of a teaser winter for 45-46 may be a bit controversial. Let me know in the comments what you think. I think there's just enough in 45-46, particularly January 46, I think, to suggest that this is a teaser winter. But it's borderline, it could very easily have been left out. Of course, it does precede the very, very snowy and bitter cold winter of 1947. The summer of 1946 is pretty atrocious, let's be honest, with this 500 millibar height anomaly suggesting lots of low pressure out to our north and west, bringing in the wind from a cool west to northwest direction. It's a cold and wet summer in 1946. So things get even worse, actually, for the next summer, which is 1954, following the next teaser winter that I've picked out, which is 53-54. And this one has a relatively mild December, but then gets colder for February of 1954. Of course, proceeds like an even colder winter for 1954, 1955, and again 1955, 1956. It's like a trilogy of cold winters through the middle of the 1950s. The summer of 1954 is absolutely atrocious. It's one of the worst summers, not only of the 1950s, but of the 20th century, really, with a very, very deep trough of low pressure across northern and western Europe. We're on the cold side of the jet stream as well, deep in the jet stream, a long way south, and just looking very, very cool, wet and unsettled in the summer of 1954. That's a very, very bad summer indeed. The next summer is 1962, of course, following the teaser winter of 61-62. That's a classic teaser, 61-62, by the way. So it does have a cold Christmas to New Year, cold and snowy around the New Year of 61-62. Then it goes off into a milder, stormier spell through January into early February of 62, and then it gets much colder late in February of 1962 and through to March of 1962. Again, a lot of these teaser winters do have very cold weather at the end of the winter. Of course, it precedes the daddy of cold winters in 1963. The summer of 1962 is a very, very cool summer. Not overly wet, because the trough of low pressure actually centres over Scandinavia and northern Europe. But the thing with this summer is that we're just pulling the wind from the north a lot. So it's just a very, very depressed summer in terms of temperature. The highest maximum temperature throughout the whole of the summer is around 27 degrees. I think that occurs like on the first day of September or something. So we barely scrape 80 Fahrenheit throughout the whole of the summer. If that happened now, it'd be such a shock, wouldn't it? Because we expect to get into like mid-30s, really, don't we? Every summer now we seem to get into mid-30s. So if we was barely scraping like 27, 80 Fahrenheit, it would be a shock. It would be a shock to the system. So it's a very cool summer, not overly wet, but unsettled at times. It does also, again, demonstrate that northern blocking, seen with higher pressure within the northern latitudes, which I'm sure you've noticed is something that does occur quite regular with these summers following teaser winters and preceding, very cold winters. But next summer is 1978, following the teaser winter of 77, 78. We've been talking about winter 77, 78 quite a lot in the live streams and videos lately. I think there has been a bit of a similarity with this winter to 77, 78 in that, again, it's a classic teaser winter and got colder later. It precedes the very cold winter of 78, 79. In between those two bookends, we get the summer of 1978, which again does demonstrate that northern blocking signal. High pressure in the North Atlantic going up to the Arctic, low pressure through much of northern and western Europe, pulling in the winds from a north-northeast direction. It's a cool and wet summer in 1978. Very, very poor summer indeed. This one might be a little bit controversial. This is sort of 1984. I've got 83, 84 down as a teaser winter, although it was a very westerly winter, but the westerlies were unusually cold zonality through January and February of 1984, which did bring quite a lot of snow, especially to northern parts of the country. Of course, it is followed by a much colder winter for 84, 85. This is probably the best summer in the whole of the package of analogues that we've got here, because this one does have high pressure more or less over the top of the UK and Western Europe. So this is a relatively dry and warm summer. It's a forgotten summer because 1983 is such a hot summer. So this one is relatively forgotten, but it is pretty warm. It does have quite a hot August actually in 1984. That's our best summer following a teaser winter. And then the last summer that we've got is 2009, again following the teaser winter of 08-09. So we know what happened in that winter. We have like a very cold and frosty spell from New Year through the first 10 days or so of January 2009. And then we get a very snowy spell, cold and snowy spell through the first 10 days to a couple of weeks of February 2009. Not continuously cold, though, which is always the case with these teaser winters. So, for example, the second half of February goes very mild, just demonstrating the idea that not every teaser winter will have really cold weather at the end of February. This is one of them that has the cold weather early in February and then goes very mild and spring-like in the second half of February 2009. Of course, preceded by or followed by the very cold winter of 09-10. The summer of 2009 is wet and unsettled. This was supposed to be the barbecue summer, predicted by the Met. Actually, what we ended up with was just a rather unsettled and nondescript sort of summer, really. Low pressure in off the Atlantic. It does have one very hot spell at the end of June into the first day or so, down to July 2009. So it does have one quite notably hot spell, but otherwise it's quite a cool, unsettled summer. Again, notice the northern blocking within the high latitudes. Notice high pressure around the Arctic. So again, that is something that we do see with a lot of these summers following teaser winters and preceding very cold winters, but you will see that signal for northern blocking to be there. Right, so let's put all of that together then. This is how all Junes combined are looking following teaser winters, and tends to be unsettled with low pressure, below average heights, low pressure across northern and western Europe, high pressure is pulled out into the middle of the Atlantic. Winds are coming in from like a northerly type direction. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty wet signal for those Junes. All Julys combined look pretty bad as well, following teaser winters. The northern blocking signal strengthens around Greenland and back into the Arctic. Low pressure tends to be across northern and western Europe again. You can envisage we're bringing winds in from the north a lot of time with these Julys. So cool and wet for these Julys following teaser winters. The northern blocking gets even stronger into August. This is how all August combined This is how all August combined looks following teaser winters. Notice the red colours there over the Arctic. Very strong northern blocking and ridging down in towards Greenland and Iceland as well. Sends the jet stream southwards. And we have low pressure across much of the North Atlantic into Western Europe and into Northern Europe as well. A cool, wet signal for those August following teaser winters. And all summers combined following teaser winters, also looking very unsettled again. Notice the northern blocking signal is there following the teaser winter and preceding the very cold winter that will show up as the next immediate winter. The summers themselves just look cold and wet, really, or cool and wet, with low pressure across much of northern, central and western Europe as well. Combined with the northern blocking, it's a pretty grim sort of signal. If we narrow things down to just look at the years after 1950, which only gives us a handful of summers, but nevertheless we'll look at all Junes combined following teaser winters post 1950. It makes very little difference really. So we get the above average heights in the North Atlantic, get below average heights extending through northern and west Europe. It still looks like a pretty cool and unsettled signal for those Junes. Look how much stronger the blocking gets in the all Julys combined, though, post 1950, following a teaser winter. Even stronger with the northern blocking around Greenland, with the low pressure, again, the trough tending to be over to the east and the northeast of the country. Just suggests like quite a cool, wet, unsettled July. It is very probable after a teaser winter. All August combined, following a teaser winter post 1950, again with northern blocking, maybe easing back slightly compared to July, but nevertheless it's still there in the high latitudes. Low pressure in off the Atlantic into northern West Europe. Jet stream is pushed southwards as well in those August. A cool, wet signal for August. And then lastly, this is how all summers combined are looking following teaser winters and preceding very cold winters post 1950. We have a northern blocking signal for these summers. High pressure in the northern latitudes. Low pressure across the northwest Europe. Winds in from a northeasterly direction. A cool or very cool and wet signal for these summers. So if the winter of 2020-21 is a teaser winter, as we forecast it to be, and if it's going to be like followed by a colder winter, 2021-2022, it suggests that the summer of 2021 is likely to be pretty bad. It's likely to have a pretty cool and a pretty wet summer following the teaser winter. And with northern blocking, there and there in the high latitudes, lurking and warning us about what's to come for the next winter. Of course, this might not be a teaser winter. We have predicted a teaser winter. I think it's panning out like a teaser winter. But the weather, will often do its own thing. So it does not guarantee that this summer is going to be a cool, wet washout. We'll just have to wait and see. But certainly, if this is a teaser winter, it favours a pretty poor summer afterwards. And that's about as much as we can say. It's just for a bit of fun, it's just a bit of fun, and to connect the summer updates that we're going to commence at the beginning of March to like the winter and the winter forecast. So that's all we're doing, really, having a bit of fun and finding a way to connect summer to winter. So that's it then, that's it. This video will be placed on the, what will eventually be created summer updates page at GavsWeatherVids.com. There'll be a written summary that goes with it as well. And we will begin, our proper summer updates will begin, the first Sunday in, March. I do not know what day that will be, but that will be, when we will release our first proper summer update. And of course, the summer 2021 forecast will be released at the end of May, as always. For this video, though, that's all for now. And thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this video, please, in the comments. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.